uh, hopefully going to come in nice and crystal clear. Today, I upgraded our internet, and yeah, I did a little private test stream earlier, and it seemed to go phenomenally well and much faster than I thought, honestly. So welcome. I am just polishing up my glasses here real quick because I can't see much without them. So today we're gonna work on this dragon. So we're gonna do some basics with the photo with the Photoshop. We're gonna do some basics with Photoshop, kind of get people in gear for um, kind of the same stuff that we've been doing. The similar, how to use adjustment layers and different colors and kind of how to enhance your existing images. Now, I've been using things like these dragons because I'm working on them for my Patreon members, but you can use them for a regular profile photo, something you took yourself, maybe of your kids, or maybe you took a portrait or something. But anyway, so let's have a little bit of fun today. Um, I'm going rogue. I usually use this guy. This is a Wacom tablet or Wacom tablet. I don't know however you say it. I always say Wacom. But I'm missing the pen. So not everybody has a pen, and so this will be a good little exercise. It's been a long time since I've only used the mouse. It is real nice to be able to use the pen just like you're using a pen. I've been looking for it for the last 20 minutes. Can't find it. I was using it this morning, and I don't know if maybe the dog ran away with it or what. So we'll find out at some point. But welcome. So here we go. We got this dragon. We have this guy I created in Stable Diffusion. Now I am working on a Stable Diffusion 3-part series. Maybe it's going to be a little bit more over time, but the basics on how to get using Stable Diffusion. And so this guy right here is one of the dragons that I made. Let me just check something real quick. I am going to, all right. I'm going to assume everything is good. Okay. Yeah, sounds like everything's good. Awesome. So we have this dragon here. And so if you've been following along over the last week or so, actually about 2 weeks, I've been taking these and turning them into different, vertical screen sizes or screen backgrounds. So this here is going to be all these vertical ones that you're seeing are for mobile phone backgrounds. So I have one like this here. Let's see if it comes out hopefully okay. So this is going to be another one of those. And then any of the wider screen ones are actually desktop backgrounds. So I have a few of them. So this is the one we're going to work on today, but I do have quite a few. So this is one that I don't remember if I showed last week or not that I was working on. But that one's almost done. So we're not going to go over that. And then I think I have one more. Yeah, Dark Dragon. So what I'm trying to do is get a whole slew of styles. And so I really like the kind of darker, grungy, moody stuff for myself, but not everybody's into that. And like this one, I really love. That's a lot of fun. But colorful dragons are, a lot of people enjoy these. This is pretty cool too. So I know that D Will, who's not going to be here today, he might join me tomorrow, depending on the scheduling. But yeah, I know that he really likes the bright ones. So let's get started. So what we're going to do here, I'm just trying to figure out when you're taking a piece of artwork, whether it's a dragon or someone's face, you just kind of have to figure out the direction that you want to go. And I know that with these, I really like to accent the kind of like bioluminescence. And so this here, whoops, this guy right here, that's one of the reasons why I picked this, because I was able to get that instable diffusion automatically already kind of enhanced to have that glowing effect. So all I have to do is just kind of enhance it. So 90% of the work, no, I can't say that. A lot of the work though is done ahead of time. It's just like when you take a photograph, getting it done in camera does so much more of the work for you, so that when you pull it in to Photoshop or Lightroom, whatever your editing software is, it you don't have to work as hard. Fixing it in post is great if you have that opportunity, but sometimes it's just easier. Well, no, I'm going to say all the time. All the time, it's easier to get it right straight out of the gate, and then just kind of accenting it as you want. So let's see, what do we have here? I have a 1250 pixels by 950. So what I'm going to do, thank you. I don't need to see that. Okay, so that was just my backup software. Always have backups, always have backups. So neural filters, we're just going to enhance this real quick. So we're just going to super zoom this guy. I'm going to go up to 3 times. I like to do that just to kind of enhance the quality of it. It actually does super zoom. This is Photoshop beta, by the way, but this super zoom is actually in regular Photoshop if you don't have the beta. And actually beta came out with another update today. I didn't do the other update, but it just came out about a week ago. And oh, that's going to open it up into a new file, and I don't want to do that. So let me just go back over to, where's my, I lost it. Yeah, so I'm going to go over to this one here. I'm just going to paste it in. It's going to be huge, and that's fine. And so I'm just going to bring the this guy. Yeah, we'll just clear it. So I'm just going to, for now, I'm just going to bring this out to the extent of the actual image. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all of it. First, drag the canvas. Oh, no, I don't need to. Nope, I don't need to expand. Sorry, my fault. So I just need to bring this guy over here like that. Right up here, you'll see it says generative expand. And so I just want to do background default. I just want to have it not fill anything. I don't think that I had anything outside the borders, but that's one of the things that you have to be careful with, because if it starts to generative expand, I might have only had just like 2 pixels worth on the sides or on the top, wherever it was. And so it's going to work to do that. There's no need. So what I'm going to do is, because this is a desktop background, I'm going to end up making this a 16:9 ratio. But for now, what I want to do is I'm going to do all this editing. I'm going to do all these masks and everything. I recommend always doing the full image and then cropping in afterwards, because you'll have, if you do this right now, let's show you 16:9. So this is 16:9. So if I were to just do this, just here like this, I'm locked into this. Once I have all my layers put up and the masking done, I have masked into this canvas space. So if I wanted to expand, then I would have to do all that work again, or not necessarily all the work again, but I'd have to adjust my masks, where it's very easy. It's much easier to just do it all once. You kind of waste the editing that's outside that frame. But if you want to use this for other things, maybe I want to do an 8:10 print, and this looks more like an 8:10 ratio. So it's really good to have that all of it done, so you give yourself a lot of flexibility in the future, because you might only want to do a background now, but trust me, like if it starts to be something that you really like to do, having those files set up saves you a ton of time. But we all make mistakes. I did on D-Will's Dragon, for my patrons, it was the red one that I showed in a video not too long ago, and I forgot to expand it to the 9:16, and so there was a lot of pain. You might have seen that video. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, that's already expanded. I'm just going to get rid of this guy because that's the original. I always, good rule of thumb, always duplicate. So I just hit Command J, but you can always just come down here, bring this down into the add, and it'll create a duplicate. So I'm just going to Command Z that. All right. So what I want to do, so there, usually what I'll do is come down here. I live almost exclusively in the adjustments panel. So right down here, these little half cookie, that little guy there. So if you come down here, you'll see all your adjustments. And so I typically, for these kind of edits, I will go between solid color and hue saturation and curves. But usually those, so here's curves up here, hue saturation down here, and solid color. And so those are usually the ones that I use primarily. There, once in a while, I'll throw in gradient map, but I don't know. Maybe we'll play around with that. Maybe today we'll see how it goes. So I think this is going to be a fairly simple edit because it already has so much color to it. So let's jump in and do the hue saturation. This is always fun to just to start off with. So we have this guy. So you can see here, if I just crank this, it's just going to blow out the saturation. That's way too much. It almost always is way too much. So if you're new to this, if you're doing this for photos like your regular profile, oh, hold on just a second. This is asking me to verify who I am. I don't know why. I've done this a bunch of times. Yep, that's me. It's just Google. I guess it's check my device. Yep.
Think, what are they putting into their kids' bodies? And so,
okay, yes, that's me. I appreciate that they're doing this extra security because I would hate for somebody else to have my stream. Okay, your Google account was signed in. Yep, no, all good to go. Okay, so hopefully everything is good. So here we go. Okay, so you can see here the vibrancy. If I just bring it up all the way, like I was showing you, way too much. And this is a big beginner mistake to make it really pop. People, myself included, in the beginning, I wouldn't necessarily do it that much, but I would really just kind of crank it. And you end up getting a lot of artifacting when you do this. It's not as noticeable here because it's a piece of artwork that has a lot of like gradation and it's artwork, so it's not somebody's face. If you're dealing with more realistic things, then cranking that saturation up really kind of blows it out of proportion. So we're just going to bring this up a little bit and see how we like that. So this is on, that's off. You can see, and what's funny is once you do this, you end up, when you turn it off, what used to be good, like this actually looked good. It looked really good to me. I liked it. But now compared to this looks so dull. It looks so dull. So it's always fun to see these changes happen. And so you can do, all I've done so far is the saturation, but watch what happens when we change these blending modes. So this little guy here next to opacity where it says normal, if you're on the layer, you go up here to normal and you can switch through darken, multiply, color burn. You can see all of these and how they affect things. So let me just show you a screen. These ones here, so you see how it says lighten. These ones are all going to have a brighter effect, essentially. That's the best way that I can put it without getting too complex. Darken, all of these ones in this block are going to darken it to some degree. And you might not know which layer it is or which blending mode to use. And a lot of this is just playing, because you have, dependent on what the layer is, you can, there's no one thing fits all. I could give you some good guidelines as to when to use darken or multiply versus lighten or screen, but for now, we're just doing the basics. So just play. You see where we're doing or where we're going here. So vivid light, linear light, I do a lot with these pieces of artwork, but just in spots. We have overlay, which is a little bit softer. So you can see overlay here versus linear light. Might be kind of difficult. Let's just do this. I just want to show you. Very subtle, but we're going to turn off linear light. We're going to throw this over to overlay. Okay, so that one versus that one might be, I don't know if the stream is going to be able to handle it, but hopefully you can see it, especially up here where all these yellows are. It kind of crushes those colors. Whereas this, you see here, you see some more shading. So this is overlay and that's linear light. So anyway, you can just see some different, how these things kind of react. And we're going to delete that. That's fine. Okay. So back to this. So what we're going to do, let's do a soft light. Let's see what that looks like. That's way too intense, obviously. But what happens if we bring this down? Not a whole heck of a lot. So what I want to do, we're just going to keep this on normal. Why did that stay this? Oh, because that's, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm dumb. in the previous one, I had I had changed, I had deleted the mask, which is this white bit here, not the actual layer. So, all right. So we have this on multiply. And so this is off, this is on. And so you can see right here, this spot that I'm really interested in, that already looks more intense. So I want to see what happens if all I do is keep that intense. Now, so right now, the way that the mask works is that it's white. So if I think of it like this, this mask here is a curtain. If it's white, then it's fully open. The curtain is fully open, and everything that's part of this layer that the mask is touching on is going to be visible. Okay. Now, if I change this to black, now the curtains are closed. You can't see the stage play that's happening. So you can't see anything out or on the other side of it. But if somehow I was able to take that curtain and poke a hole in it, you can see now all of a sudden that intensity comes back. Now I want to do this one more time because I want to make it a little bit more obvious. I'm not sure um, if the YouTube algorithm or compression is going to kind of screw this up. So again, so right now we have the curtain is open, it's white, and you can see everything going on. If I take this, if I make it black, oops. Okay, so turn that to normal. And actually, let's see what happens. Yeah, well, we keep it on multiply there. So turn this to black. Okay, so now you can't see any of the purple or magenta. And now if I paint a hole right here of white, you can see that comes back. Okay, so that's all that a mask does. And it's what's called non-destructive editing. And these are super powerful. If you're just beginning with Photoshop, learn masks. Learn masks because you're going to not end up doing so much erasing and changing later. Um, so it lets you say, oh, I didn't want that hole. Let me stitch it back up. You could just take and paint black back in. So that's all I'm doing is right here, because black is the curtains closed, white is open. I'm taking, this is my foreground color and this is my background color. And it just depends on what I want. If you hit X, it's going to switch between them. Or you can hit this little arrow, double arrow here. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of do this, but so we don't need the pink. We're going to get rid of that for now. So we're back here and we're just enhancing this. You can see that kind of brought that up quite a bit. Let's see what happens if I just kind of bring, I don't want the whole thing dark. So yeah, I don't want to do this. So what I end up doing, I am going to say, I'm just going to call it gills. I don't know what this would be, like eye gills, but whatever it is that's what I'm going to call it. Now, hold on just a second. I just want to make sure everything is copacetic. Yeah. Okay, cool, cool. All right, looks good. All right, good, good, good. It's tough because this is actually an added session here. Wednesdays are going to be my primary days to do this, but like I said, I just wanted to get really test this thing out under load, I guess is the best way to put it. So thanks for bearing with me. Okay, so we have this guy here. What else do we want to do? Let's actually bring back, because what I did was I just have that. I want to bring back a regular overall hue saturation layer and just kind of like beef this up a little bit. That's pretty good. So that's good, just a little bit. Okay. Cool. So there's a number of different ways that we can dial this down, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that as is. Okay, so that's just a general overall guy right there. How else do we want to do this? I want to add a curves layer, bring down the darks. Here we go. I'm going to do some dodging and burning. So actually, just to show you, we got this guy on normal, but I'm just going to change this to multiply so that, well, yeah, we'll just go to multiply. Yeah, multiply. That's pretty typically how I do. And then we're going to call this burn. And then we're going to mask out everything that we don't want, because what I want to do. So what I did here is that was already white, and I just hit Command I, Control I if you're on a Windows, and it inverts the mask. Okay. So what I want to do is just kind of paint in where I want it to be a little bit darker. And I am working with a very soft brush because I don't want it to be like super dark. What I want is there's this like cosmic light, the sun, maybe, but this guy's out in the cosmos, and like this is such a magical image. I just want to enhance the contrast, but in spots. And so, one of the best ways to do this, you'll do this with people's eyes, or like a regular photograph. You do this quite a bit, dodging and burning. It's a pretty typical effect. It's actually called dodging and burning, way back from the old photography days. Hey, what's going on, Bradley? How you doing? Congratulations. I'm not going to say why unless you want to say it. Oh my God, but I'm so excited for you. There he is, Mr. Bradley Mason. Uh, so happy for you. Okay. So Bradley, I'm not sure exactly when you joined us, but we're doing this exciting dragon. And so what I was talking about was dodging and burning. So back in the old photography days, when you would do the post production of the photo, you'd develop the photo, and there was actually it's not a mechanical process, but it wasn't just jumping into a digital software like this, and it was called dodging and burning. Burning would darken wherever it is. So what we're doing right here, that's burning there. Okay. And then dodging would be the opposite. It kind of lightens it up. So I don't even have to do anything. I'm just going to add a curves adjustment layer there. I don't have to. You could do this. You could bring up the highlights. You could bring down the highlights. You could do it that way. You could kind of play around this way, which we might get into. But all I have to do here is just like I did with multiply, just do the opposite. Let's come down here. So screen, you can see I haven't done anything other. It's the exact same thing. But we're just hitting it, throwing it on screen so that it does that intensity. Now I might want to actually bring that and adjust it a little bit. What's this look like? Yeah, lighten doesn't do a darn thing because I haven't done anything with this curves adjustment. If you do a soft light, it just kind of like barely hints it up. How did they do that in the past? Bradley says they actually would do I only know a little bit of it. I saw my brother working on it. He used to have I don't have anything like that now, but I got a whole bunch of cameras behind me. I don't think you can see them, but they would take like I think it was like a light source that would affect the emulsion. I'm kind of speaking out my butt here, so the words might not be accurate, but basically the image would be affected by the light, and because the whole thing about old film photography was it's all how the light is uh, not how it reacts, how the chemical process makes the film react. So they would end up using, from what I remember, this bright light above it. Like, so you'd have the actual camera, or not camera, the actual photo on the table. And then you'd have this light up here. And then I don't know if you would actually put a layer on top, like a chemical layer or not. to kind of intensify to make the film or the paper react more. Um, I should actually have my brother on. He did some dodging and burning. From what I remember, he definitely did a double exposure, which was really cool. He printed a double exposure, which was like a guy in Boston feeding geese or feeding pigeons, but it looked like he looked like a ghost because of the way he did the double exposure. They also have um, what look like projectors to I want to call it a resizer. It's not what it's called, but basically it's the same thing. So you have this light, it's looking down at the film, and then there's a process to basically magnify the film onto a bigger piece of paper. So you could make it go from like, this from like this big. Sorry, I'm doing everything vertically. So everything from like this big, you could make it much bigger. So anyway, nowadays with the digital world, all you have to do is just crop or increase the size of the resolution, which is is more complicated than just what I showed you. There's more to it. So um, uh, Bradley, I went up over here to neurofilters and I ended up expanding this, which Photoshop is really good at. But you can only expand an image, a raster based image, a pixel based image so far before it starts to break down and look really pixelated. Photoshop has a really good algorithm to expand and kind of like rework those pixels now, which is really good. But it's much easier with something like this than it is with an actual photograph. Um, and the higher the resolution of the photograph, and if you're working with raw imagery versus JPEGs, there's a whole knowledge base to it. But anyway, so I could talk about that for the next 2 weeks, but maybe I'll bring that up tomorrow. I got tomorrow. I don't know if you heard Bradley. Tomorrow is the actual live stream. This is the tester live stream because I updated um, my internet speeds to be much better because I did not like how they were junking out. And I had to, it was terrible. I had some of them were fine, other ones were just super choppy, and I appreciate people for sticking with it. So here we go. We got this guy. So this is on screen. So this is the dodge layer. Let me just change this called dodge. All right. So I'm just pulling down. I'm pulling down the darker side of this histogram. So we're actually not going to be affecting the blacks as much. And I actually don't want to affect the whites. So you can see I can bump up the highlights. I want to come bring those down just to kind of reduce it a little bit. This is almost, I don't want to do that so much. Yeah. Okay, cool. Faster internet. Yeah. It's a thing of beauty, honestly. I tested it out on a private stream and it did well for 20 minutes. It actually did stupendously. So I think we're good to go. I'm actually surprised I'm able to get the speeds that I am because it's just regular cable. So okay, so this is looking good. It is kind of blowing out this highlight here. So what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to just bring down the opacity. So the opacity here next to where it says screen, the opacity is how much this layer is how much this layer is affecting the layers below it. So I'm just bringing down to like 40. That actually looks pretty good. It might be a little too much. The other thing that I could do is I could leave that alone. And just like we were talking about earlier, where um, you poke a hole in the curtain, the black is the curtain, closed curtain, and you poke a hole in it to make white. You could do the exact same thing, but reverse it so that now I don't want this to be affecting that so much. So you can see here, I'm actually making this to be a black hole in the whiteness. So let me see, actually, just to see if I can make these bigger. Maybe not. I know that I can. I don't remember where it is. There's a way to make these icons look bigger. But I think you can probably see that right there, that little black hole. Okay. So I'm just trying to paint a little bit of black in there. And it's really important to have a very soft brush. You see where this red bit is here, and it kind of like fades out. And so what I'm doing there is a control and option will bring up your brush little overlay circle there. And if you click with your left mouse button and drag to the left, it reduces the size. Bring it up, makes it bigger. And then if you do the same thing, but you just bring it down, you make a harder brush. Bring it up, you make a soft brush. So there we go. That is one of the best tips in life. I can tell you that. I actually learned that from Aaron Nace when I was watching his videos a lot back in the day. He still does a lot of Photoshop stuff. If you haven't seen his stuff, definitely worth a look. From Flern. I think it's still called Flern. All right. So, yeah, we're looking okay. It looks, I'm just looking over at my other screen over here and just stream looks nice and healthy. So this this makes me feel good. Okay. So I definitely want to bring some brightness up in here. So this is where we were. And so this was just bringing some of that brightness back. I don't want there to be so much around the eye. So let's paint that. One of the other things that affects this is not just the hardness. You see how I'm playing with the hardness there and the opacity. Sorry, the opacity you can't play with that way. I have opacity up here and then flow. I highly recommend going over using flow, a low flow, and that affects. Here, let me do this. Let me do this just for those of you that are curious. Let's go. Just do red. Okay, so we're gonna paint this guy in. So this is a flow and opacity of 100. Okay, and I haven't changed anything else. If I change this to come on, bring that. Okay, I messed it up. Okay, so if I bring this here and now with the flow, do you see that's 10% here? This is 100%. So what I can do here is I can just kind of paint this in, and each time I go over it, I reveal a little bit more. So it takes a bunch of times before that gets to be 100%. Versus if I did it with opacity, let's say we brought this down to 10%. So opacity, I'm still clicking and holding, but nothing else is happening. So if I click and hold again, each time I click and hold the button, that's uh, when the opacity is going to be affected. It's easier for me. Number one, I don't have to click the button as many times, but flow has a tendency to get better results easier and like really kind of like slowly brush work some things in. Everybody has their own workflow, but I really like to use flow in my workflow. So anyway, so let's see, where were we? Okay, so we're gonna do this. I want to see where. Okay, so this guy, I need to darken this. So what I did here, I bring this back. I'm just trying to not affect underneath the eye because I want there to be a lot of contrast. There we go. I want there to be a lot of contrast for the eye, which we're going to get to in a minute here. Okay, I actually want to. I'm thinking I want to make this quite a bit darker. What do you think? Let's do a solid color and let's just do like a gray. That's fine. And actually, we'll go down here so that I'm going change this to multiply. No, which one are we going to do? Overlay. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do the overlay. I'm going to do kind of this grayish color here because I still want things to be able to see through. But this will kind of be a nice. It is very different. Not having my pencil. I'm so used to using the pencil. Let's try this. So I only want to affect the dark areas. And so this is a blend if. Let's see. How do we like that? That's the original. That's the new one. Okay, let's not go too crazy. Let's not go too crazy. What I really want to focus on is this and the eyeball. That's really kind of what drew me to this. So we're going to save that real quick. Always remember to save. You don't want to be that guy, also known as me. Okay, so what can we do here? So here's where the magic happens. Okay, so we're going to focus on this guy here. And we're going to add a solid color. And let's actually, no, I'm sorry, not a solid color, a hue saturation layer. And let's colorize. Well, no, let's do this guy. So what I'm trying to do, just look right here. Actually, we'll do it this way, just so it's easier for you to tell. Throw it on the brush tool, B for brush. And we're just going to paint in right here where we want it to be affected. I'll actually do it up here too, just so you can see the effect that I'm going for. Oh, Bradley, you lost a lot of work. Ooh, especially in your line of work, that has got to really suck. Like bad. I'm sorry. I hope it wasn't terrible for you to correct. Let's see. We want to. What I'm trying to do is I want to make this. I'm actually going to get rid of. I'm going to have a get rid of the super highlights. Yeah, I don't want that. Okay, so let me just do it this way. Just do it the manual way. So I don't want to actually affect this at all. All I'm trying to do here is add a little bit of, there we go. Okay, so that's back to normal. That's back to what it was. What I want to do is, if you look here, the scales, the light that's coming from this gill, I want to project more light onto the rest of his body. So there is a little bit of redness. You can see that there's a little bit of reflection here. And it is casting some light just a little bit here, but I want to intensify this. And so I'm also going to take this and probably change this eye to be more intense like this. So the story behind this is that's the flame is just like in his mouth. He's just chilling, he's hanging out, right? But don't mess with him, don't make him angry, because then he'll open his mouth and flame will come out. So that's the story, is this is intense. And so I'm probably going to do the same thing with the eye. So but that's what I'm trying to do. You always, whenever you're doing this kind of work, you always want to make sure that you cast that light. So you can see, actually, let's just pump up the saturation and maybe the brightness. You can see that there. It's the wrong color. It's a yellow. So it's taking a little bit of time now. Come on. There we go. All right. So this is way too high. Thanks, Bradley. He says, that's so freaking cool. I love that you have a story behind it. Yeah, I think the best images, when you work on them, I feel like it's always cool to have a story, especially with something like this, um, and it kind of trying to think of the word. Um, the word is not educates, but it kind of educates your decision making. Um, oh my God, it's right there. Okay, but anyway, so let's see what happens if we colorize it. Bring this back up. Yeah, I think we're going to colorize. So you can see like we could have it blue, but we want to make it kind of that color. And let's see what happens if we change it to maybe linear light. A lot of times linear light is good, but these are kind of some dark areas. So color dodge. I like color dodge. Okay. Influence? No. That's going to bug me. No, color dodge actually, you can see here, kind of screws up some of the way that it's messing around with the pixels. So that's not quite right. So maybe a soft light. Maybe we just go with a soft light. How's that? And I'm just going to take it out of that darkness there. So yeah, it's just, maybe that's just enough. And then kind of intensify the brightness there. Okay, cool. So let's start with that. But Bradley, about adding a story. I mean, your World of Warcraft character, you had a very rich story for her. So even though she was quote unquote just a character, you know. Um, so all right, so we got this here. So it's actually not adding an awful lot. Maybe, yeah, hard light looks pretty good. Linear, I kind of like the idea of linear light, but it's affecting the pixels a little bit too harshly. So let's go down here, maybe to color. It's all about just playing. And so here, actually, this is not bad. So you can see here, we have this guy here. So you see the blue scales there. And if I have this on the color theme here, a color blending blending mode. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time remembering that. Blending mode. It colors it red. And we don't necessarily want to do that. We just want to adjust it. So actually, let's see one other thing. Rather than colorize, let's just affect the color. See, yeah, it's going to be the wrong way. Yeah, it's not going to end up getting the color that I'm looking for. So, yep, back to colorize. Maybe bring down the saturation a little bit. No, I'll keep it like that. And I'm just going to paint it away a little bit. This is where the masks come in handy. Bradley says, oh, I create stories for all my characters. How many characters do you have? We're talking about World of Warcraft here. I have none. I think I told you. I definitely did. Way back I started to jump on the bandwagon back when the level cap it was still just World of Warcraft. It was like the first iteration of it, as far as I know, but it was level 50. 12. Wow. Nice. I never really played, what's it called? Dungeons and Dragons. I didn't, by the time I came around, none of my friends were into that, but I definitely had the influence of my brothers who grew up in the 80s. So they definitely kind of brought that, but they were off to college by the time I got to do it. But I did create a whole bunch of characters. I would sit there and I would roll the dice and make these character sheets and create these awesome characters. And I just kind of like dream about, kind of create my own stories behind it. So I did hear that it's coming back. Actually, my niece, oh God, how old is she now? She's 16. I think she's 16. She's kind of getting into it. I've seen people getting more into it. So it's becoming cool again, or at least maybe not cool, but I don't know if it was ever cool. I think it was cool, but that doesn't mean that it was cool. So, okay. So we're just trying to make sure that that's not affecting. If you hit the backslash key on your keyboard, the button right above enter, or maybe return if you have a different keyboard. But the one that's like part of your main keyboard, not like the side, then it pulls up this red overlay, and this shows you where your where your mask is influenced. So any place that there isn't red, you will see um, like this here. You can see a lot more blue here, and so if it's not red. That means that that's where your mask is affecting things. So okay, so let's just see where we're at. So this is where we started. This is where we're at now. That's not bad. That's not bad. So let me just do one other thing. I want to Command J or Control J if you're on a Mac, just to duplicate that. And so yeah, that just kind of intensifies it a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I want to change this to soft light and just see how this, it's very, very subtle, very subtle. But I'm going to keep that. I'm just going to pull it off of here a little bit. Yeah. So again, here's the story, Bradley. So because it's not necessarily the story, but this is how it's going to influence my drawing, my design here. So you have this gill that's right here, right? But or actually it'd be on a human, it'd be like right here. But you can see he's got these folds where his eyes are. And I don't want this light to spill over this far because I don't think that it would based off of how it looks in this image. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to take this. Yeah, I'll just do it on this layer. And this is where having my pencil would be really handy, but that's okay. So I'm just going to pull this back and just have it catch. You see this lip right here, right there. I'm just going to have it catch the edge of that. Okay, so and then maybe spill just a little bit towards the back here, just a smidge, because that's how if you had light happening like on this microphone, which I don't think. Oh, you can see it. The way that the light is hitting is going to hit the top part of this. Well, actually, it's going to hit like right here because that's where the light is coming from, and so it's going to hit here the hardest. It does spill over to here, not nearly as much, but if I put my finger, well, I don't even want to put my finger. Let's put a pencil because the in this case, in this dragon's case, I don't think you can see this. Yeah, you probably can't. But there's still light that's going to hit the very back of this over the pencil, the way that the light kind of spills over the pencil, but just behind the pencil is completely dark. So it's not really the best example because I can't show you. You guys aren't right on it, but just trust me. That's how it works. So it's you don't have to go this crazy, but this is why I really like this is where the nitty-gritty of the art form comes in, is that kind of like study of light. And with photography, that really helps you to understand how all this works because that's really all you're doing in photography is mastering light. It's you're just playing with how the camera sees the light. You're manipulating, the ISO, the aperture, and the shutter speed, and all those things to help it or hurt it, to not have it be as sensitive to the light, and so you can make the image that you're looking for. And so this works in the same way. So if you do a lot of photography, you end up getting to see how that works, and it's really fascinating. So we're masters of light. I actually have on my Discord channel, and Bradley, I don't know if you're on the Discord channel. I don't think you are. I don't think you're much of a Discord person, but I'm going to suggest that you join. There's a channel in my Discord called Masters of Light, and that's for the photographers. It's a brand new channel. I haven't really I've had it for a while, but I haven't done anything with it. But with the Create-a-thon coming up in I think October, that's when I'm kind of planning on it. We're going to end up doing some things in there as groups. Um, there we go. Got to make this a little bit softer here. So yeah, I think that you should join up if you want to. You might end up enjoying it, but if Discord's not your thing, that's cool too. No worries at all. But I know that you want to do some mini painting, and that's a good safe space because we're going to end up doing some Um, what I'm planning on is doing prompts during the Create-a-thon to, you pick a certain, I'll have a prompt, like let's say, because it's going to be Halloween time. Um, like Friday the 13th. I wasn't thinking of Friday the 13th, but let's say it was Friday the 13th. Was the one of the prompts you could choose, and you could make anything you want surrounding Friday the 13th, any medium, anything you want. So I feel like that'll help people to kind of be spurred to do some creative things. Like maybe they're woodworkers and they're going to do Freddy's fingernails out of or claws, whatever they would be considered, out of wood or maybe foam. Maybe somebody's going to do cosplay. Maybe somebody's going to do writing. Because I really want everybody to feel like they can just have fun together. And you said, I don't think I am, but I will join. So what I'm going to do is in this, I think I'll do it. I think I'll do it. Why not? Right? No time like the present. Not right now, but afterwards. I'll throw it in the chat. We have a few people here because honestly, I don't remember. I'm not great with Discord, so I'm going to have to find the link and then send a little invite out. But I'll also throw it on my Patreon, Bradley. I know that you're a part of my Patreon community. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. So here we go. A little bit. It's affecting that a little too much, I think. See? So it's definitely going to affect up here, but I don't want it to affect here at all. Okay, so let's make that a little bit bigger. So anyway, yeah, so I'll throw it in my Patreon and then I'll figure it out and I'll put it maybe in the description or I'll pin a comment. That might be the best way to do it. And I'll start including it in all my live streams because I think it's going to be a really good time. So, Bradley, what do you think would be your favorite Halloween theme? Maybe let's stick someplace around. Let's say like movies, anything to do with movies or stories. It doesn't have to be a movie, but so like one of my favorites is the one with the Headless Horseman. What is it? Sleepy Hollow. I really like that, and I can think of a bunch of different things. Let's see. It's not bad actually. Let's try to hurry this along a little bit. So one of the prompts I'm going to do is Headless Horseman or Sleepy Hollow because I really enjoy that. So, and I think other people will too. I think the Headless Horseman would be a lot of fun. All right. Yeah, this isn't actually really making much. Oh, well, yeah. So what I'm doing here is I'm just doing another one of those blend ifs and just trying to pull it away from the darkest spots, but that's not really what I'm looking to do because I'm trying to paint it individually. So this is just that part of the process. There is no real right or wrong, I don't think. I mean, there is, but it's artwork, so it's all subjective, right? Pretty good. So I'm going to move on because I don't want to. Like you can look in at something all day and really agonize over the pixels, and then you'll look at it when you with fresh eyes, even just a few minutes later after you've moved on, and you say, "Oh my god, that's not right," and you'll delete so much of it. So what we're going to do is just move on from that, and we'll revisit it. Bradley says, "Same. I love the story of the Headless Horseman. It is my favorite story." Hey, by the way, do you know the history of the Headless Horseman? Like, there's actually like that was I'll call it a folktale. It has something to do with the Revolutionary War. I don't quite remember it perfectly, but I'll tell you in just a second. I want to see how I feel about that. Yeah, so okay, there's a little bit too much here. I think that's what's bugging me, because again, these light rays would go this way, and kind of spill out here a little bit, and then maybe hit some of this, but it's not going to hit nearly as much as this. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to block all this out here 100% because the light, I mean, his eyeball. Oh, I just got, I just got rid of all that work that I was doing. Okay, just right there we go. Command Z. Command Z fixes everything. Command Z fixes life. Oh, I wish there was a Command Z for life. Okay. So let's do that. Maybe just bring back a little bit. No, I'll just leave it alone because what we're going to do is the eyeball. So let's see. Gill. That's the gills. We're intensifying the gills. And then we're going to say gill spill. Gill spill. I'll say gill light spill. There we go. Okay, so we'll just put that right underneath the gill. When we do this, we'll throw the gills in a layer, call it gills. It really helps to stay organized because once you get really going, it's easy to get lost. So let's see, how are we feeling about this thing? Throw that gray back on. Yeah, okay. But I am going to remove it from the eye because I don't want it to affect what we're about to do. All right. Oh yeah. So anyway, I don't quite recall it, and because I'm doing this, I can't think too deeply about it. But from what I remember, I think it had something to do with the Headless Horseman was actually a guy from the Revolutionary War. Or this is how the story goes, from the American Revolutionary War, and I think a cannonball knocked his head off. I think that was supposed to be like where it started. You can look it up, or maybe I'll look it up. I might share it on my Facebook since we're talking about it. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's do this eyeball. And so again, jump over here to the little cookie. And let's see what happens with a hue saturation layer. And we're just going to do that. Now, one of the other things, you've seen me doing eyeballs or doing the brush tool. But if you go over here to the quick selection tool, click and hold. And rather than doing the object selection, which is a very powerful tool, but in this case, I don't think it's going to do what I want. So I'm just going to say quick selection tool. You click and hold on this guy here, right? And just go down to that. If it's not already selected, bring down your brush to a nice small-ish brush and then select the eyeball. Here we go. This does a real nice job. You can see that it didn't quite get everything quite right. So I'm just going to do the whole eyeball. Oop, that's too much. So I'm going to hit Option, and it makes a little minus. I'm going to say, nope, I don't want any of that. And so it kind of works the selection. And the idea here is to just get kind of close. We're not looking to get it perfect, especially because what I'm going to do, that's fine. That's fine. We'll get some of that darkness. That's cool. We're just going to do that. And I'm going to say Command backspace, which, so with this selection, Command backspace will fill the background layer. So the white right now is my background layer. If I made a mistake and I want to do the other way, Control backspace will fill it with the foreground layer. So if you don't remember that, just see which one does what. So it's either Command backspace or Control Option. Sorry, so I'm on a Mac. So Option or Control backspace, and then so the backspace on my keyboard is the one that's next to the plus key, and I think on Windows computers it's delete. Might be backspace. I don't remember. So anyway, let's go back to there. There we go. So now what we're doing is I just want to play with the saturation here, and just to make it obvious what we're doing, let's colorize it. Ooh, hey. All right. Let's just plop that up just to see. Okay, so purple obviously is not the right choice, and this is not the right level of purple that I would do. But green actually doesn't look too bad, but it's not quite what I'm going for. And right now the whole thing is colorized, so it's it's not showing. You can see here, there's this like brighter yellow, and then it turns into this like burnt umber, this darker orange. So we don't want to just colorize the whole thing. But for right now, I do, because I'm just trying to see overall. Whoops, gotta turn it back on. How my mask was and how I'm going to play with it. So I don't think. Whoops. All right, so let's look at it as the full size screen. Okay, so let's change this back. So you can see when it's not colorized how it's brighter here. It lets the luminosity kind of come through versus that. Right? It just changes how things work. So here we go. We're going to. No, yeah, we definitely want. Oh, blue actually doesn't look too bad, but to keep going with that storyline of what we were talking about, we're going to bring this down just a little bit, and we're going to increase the saturation, and then we're going to play with. That's not too bad. I kind of like that. We're going to play with lightening it. So I think what we're going to do is a couple different layers. One of the things with Photoshop is with life, a little bit, work a little bit at a time. Don't overdo it all in one layer. Have a couple slices of cake, small slices of cake. It's not as bad as one giant piece of cake, even if it's more than that giant piece of cake. So think of it that way. So we want to do lots of little pieces of cake. So we're going to do screen, and let's see. So I'll just leave it like that, and then I'm going to just duplicate it. But this time I'm going to do, let's say, linear light. No, what do I do? Sorry, linear dodge add. So you can play around with different things. But this one, you really want to just do the smallest hint. So what we're doing is we're trying to look for a little bit of accent. I don't know if this is really going to show up on the stream too well. There we go. So here we go. So this is going to be a little bit better with making this kind of the eye spill out with a little bit of color, which I don't think is actually going to make that much of a difference unless, let's see. What do we think? Let's try doing, let's go over to the curves. Actually, let's show you a different one. Let's go over to a levels, see what happens if we kind of play around with this. The levels, this is adjusting how much you compress the different parts of the histogram. So we're going to have a little bit more darks in there. Very subtle. I don't think it does enough to warrant having. Okay. So I don't think the eye is going to come out the way that I was looking for it without quite a bit of extra work. But let's see. Hold on. Okay, so this is the eye, right? That's the second eye. There we go. So this is eye, and this is eye spill. Okay, so let's just see how this goes. Let's actually maybe change this to soft. No, soft light's too light. So that's what you got to remember. Like I said before, playing in Photoshop is playing. You know, you might do the same kind of thing 100 different times, but it's not really. Each thing is a little bit different, and so it's just like I said, whether you're doing a dragon or you're doing somebody's portrait. Come on. It's not a. Oh, I don't have the preview button. So the preview stayed. I was wondering why none of this was changing. because what I want to do is preview. Come on. What I want to do is I don't want this color to, or this layer to affect the darkness. And so what I'm trying to do is reduce that. So I'm just kind of playing with it. But the preview button wasn't clicked on. So I must have kept it off from the last time I went in here. So I'm going to hit Alt or Option and then just kind of blend this and fade it. So that actually, that's better. That's a little bit better. So yeah. Okay. Cool. So you can see that just kind of intensifies it. Let's do this because actually, I think what I'm trying to do is a little bit too much on. Thank you. Okay. Backblaze keeps telling me to back up. I did quite a bit of backup earlier, and it's telling me I should keep going, and I should, but I'm on here and I don't want to throw off the live stream. So here we go. So we're just going to bring some of this back in. I don't know if that's really. I'm not super sold on it. So what if I just go over to normal and kind of change, what is it that is not calling to me? Do I have to change the story a little bit? Maybe I have to change the story a little bit. Let's go to, yeah, that's way too red. That's pretty good, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Bradley, or anybody else on chat? What color should we make the eyes? I kind of feel like the reddish, goldish yellow is the way to go, but maybe it's not quite right. Okay, so let's look over here. So, oh, that helps actually. So again, this is one of those things where I had just thrown this in here to show you and kind of play with it, and I didn't really do much to it, and I wasn't digging it when I did it. But now because I'm kind of zoomed out and I've got just like 2 minutes of fresh eyes on it, I am actually digging it. So that's too much. That's too much. So yeah, we'll just do this normal and we're just going to play with this. Nope, bring it down a bit. Cool. And let's just pull that back a little bit. Now, these are a whole bunch of different. You liked the red eye. Well, I still have the red eye, unless you're talking about something different. Like when it was it a little bit more like solid red. Oh, I think that's what this is missing. Okay. It also doesn't help that I have a bright light right here so you guys can see my beautiful face, which you don't really need to see. So let me see. Yeah, my screen brightness is bright enough, or is as bright as it's going to get. Okay, so yeah, I think what I'm missing here is I'm going to just add, let's try another curves. What I'm going to do is I'm going to crush this. I'm going to crush, well, I'm going to blast the brights, and then I'm going to paint in. I think this might be what I'm looking for. Oh, no, I don't need to open. Okay. There we go. Oh, I lost you. Hold on just a second. I hit the wrong button and you disappeared. There we go. Oh no, what you have, or what I have, you say, okay, cool. Yeah, I kind of like that too. It's just like it's not singing to me. And a lot of times when I'm working on different projects, like there's certain eyes that I've done where I'm like, wow, this is just like, this is it. This is life right here. And I'm not really feeling that right now, but you're not always going to feel that. So we're going to just blast the highlights. And what I want to do, I think maybe part of the problem is that I'm using a mouse and not my pencil. There we go. And so I'm not really getting the softness that I'm used to and how I like to do it. So let's see here. So this actually is doing okay, but it's hitting the wrong things. I just want to, I don't want to hit the darkness in the back. Yeah, okay, there we go. That's now see what I'm thinking here. This might be a little too much, but we're going to stick with it for now. I threw in a color dodge layer because I want these like back spines to really kind of uh what is it, like the translucence of the light coming in. Yeah, okay. Kind of like with the wings that I did on the other dragon, where the light was like it was almost somewhat translucent. I think translucent would be the right word, but it kind of intensifies the effect because it's thinner. It's kind of like the, well, not ear, but you know how you can see like light affecting your ear to be a little bit more like red, right, when the light's behind you. So, and that's too much there. That's already very bright. So, maybe. Oh, there we go. Let's darken this again. And that is that what the eye is missing? Well, that's a little bit better. It might be a little too much. I think that might be a little too much. I do like that. I do like how that spill is happening. I'm curious, actually. Let's just give me a sec. I'm going to pull over some texture here. I just got to open it up. All right. Overlays and textures. Do smoke or fog? Let's try smoke. What's this one look like? So let's see. So I got a whole bunch of different smokes and fog textures. And so I'm just going to pull. Let's just see. I don't know if this is the right one. But oh, yeah, this is real small. Okay. So let's bring this in over here. Screen. Oops. Cloudy smoke. Let's throw that up over here. Throw a screen on there and then do that. I don't know if maybe what I'm missing is a little bit of a texture. That might be what's kind of throwing me off. And let's see, maybe, yeah, we'll just stick it with screen, maybe bring this down a little bit. And then I want to brush that away. Come on. I don't know if this is the right answer, but again, just playing around. I don't know if you saw Turtle Boy, and actually, I don't remember if you did, Bradley, or not. But when I did the Turtle Boy statue Armageddon, which I haven't quite finished, I think I could probably call it a day on it. But I love Turtle Boy so much that it feels like a unless I do it justice. But I do have. I think that's where I got these smoke textures when I was doing that, because that was 100% no AI, um, except for the live stream when I was testing it out with D-Will. I was showing the live stream, showing the AI capabilities, but that's traditional compositing where you take images. So there's a photograph that I had done and just worked it up. There we go. That might be. Yeah. Okay. So I have these AI things that I've been doing, but I really do enjoy um, good old fashioned compositing. There we go. Okay, so let's try this and maybe. There we go. Yeah, Turtle Boy. Not this. For those of you that just joined, we have a few other people that joined recently. Hello and welcome. We're doing a little bit of basics with Photoshop, kind of playing with these adjustment layers and kind of going over masking. And I've been doing a lot of these things to just kind of get ready and get people into doing Photoshop and the basics of things. And there's a lot that you can do, just keeping it very basic. So you don't need to go crazy. Let's see, what's this guy? Yep, that's not quite right either. I wonder if these are too big. Okay, let's start with the fog overlay. I think that might be better. Okay, let's throw this fog overlay. So it's important here. What I'm doing is I'm throwing in a PNG that has a transparency layer. So you see that. Well, actually, I'm sorry. This doesn't have the transparency layer. So it doesn't matter if it's a PNG or a JPEG. But what I'm doing here is I don't want to see that black bit. So this is a perfect example of when to use screen, these overlays. So if I do screen or even lighten gets rid of most of it, but screen will get rid of all the dark areas. So all you're going to see is that fog. So here we go. Let's just throw this in the corner there and just overlay the edges just a little bit to bleed over. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can get behind that. All right, let's see how this looks if I expand it that big. And so I'm going to end up bringing this down. So we're going to mask it. This is a perfect example of when to use just a basic mask. So you see this line that's right here. This guy right here. So I want to pull that away with just a very soft brush. And my flow is at 10. I'm going to go here and just hold shift and just keep going up and down until it disappears. There we go. And now if I had held, or if I had done opacity, I would have had to click that button 50 times to do the same thing. So that's one of the reasons why I like flow. Okay, let me pull back up that window there. Perfect. Okay, so what I don't want is for that smoke, that fog, to affect the front of the dragon, because he is the subject matter. So what I'm going to do, click over here on the main layer, hit select subject. This does a phenomenal job. You can see here that it's selected the dragon. I mean, it does a damn good job. So the only time you really, or where I have really ended up with a tougher selection is like frizzy hair, which that happens all the time. So let's actually create a group, and then apply the mask. Oops. Add a mask here. So now this is going to be the fog layer. Let's add these guys in here and say fog. Okay. And now you can see that it's only affecting where he is because we have only him visible. So let's just Command I, and then there we go. So that kind of puts it all behind him. Is that the look that we want? I don't really think that's fully what we're looking for, but part of the problem is let's just bring down the opacity a little bit. Adds a little bit in there. That's actually pretty good. Okay, cool. So let's do this is fog. Oops, we're gonna say this is fog background. BG for background, and then let us duplicate this and say this is fog foreground. And we're going to, there we go. Okay. Is that, can you see the line? No, I don't think you can. Okay. So I actually kind of like a little bit of the fog over him because I feel like it if you just had the fog in the background, it makes everything else kind of like misty, just like faded out. So what we're going to do is add it in again, and just bring this down. There we go. So it's just a little bit on him too. There we go. I'll bring this down a little bit so I can do like that. Okay, so let's do this guy over on the left. That's fine. Okay, so now I feel like, yeah, these bits here are starting to come back in. So what I want to show you is, I don't want to overdo this. I don't think I'm going to be able to get how I wanted with him, or what kind of like what I was envisioning with him without a lot of work. Because he's actually damn good as he is, but let's do this. So if I do a new layer, Command Option Shift and E, and that's going to be Control Windows key. No, not Control Windows. I don't know. It's all the buttons down there in Shift and E. I'm not sure what it is on Windows. So go over here and we're going to do Filter and go to Camera Raw Filter. Is super powerful. Right now we have all those edits that we did. Actually, I'm going to do this. So I don't have to do it again. I'm going to Command J or Control J on a Mac. Just duplicate that. And I'm going to call this one Raw and say Filter and go to Camera Raw Filter. You can do a lot with the Camera Raw Filter. And we can play with the lights. But this is a baked in. So everything that I have put in here, I can't change anything. Like going back and doing those masks, because this is now a fully like merged file, like it's all one layer. So we can add some contrast and let's zoom out. Like I was saying before, you want to zoom out just a little bit so you're not looking 100% at it. Like, yeah, like this eyeball is way too contrasty. So I don't want to do that. Actually, that's pretty good. So I think part of the thing that I've been wanting is like that little bit of maybe bring up the highlights. Yeah, and bringing down the contrast. And so actually I'll do it all here. I'll do it all here. This is kind of a cheat mode. So I'm going to bring up bring up the whites a little bit. I'm ignoring the face because I'm not going to keep this on the face necessarily. So I'm going to bring down the blacks. Am I going to? Yeah, I'll bring down the blacks. And so let's see. So \key does a preview. So this is where we were. This is where we're at. This actually coming together a little bit better than I thought. Detail, do not want sharpening. I actually want the opposite of it. Effects, so bring down the texture. Yeah, oh, there we go. Okay, I think that might have been part of the problem. There was a little too much texture for, yeah, there we go. That's it. There we go. Okay, so that's what it was. That's what it was throwing me off, was there was too much texture. There was too much clarity. Let's bring down the dehaze a little bit. That might be a little too much. Yeah, I think that's too much. And then maybe bring, yeah, we're going to do a manual vignette because that's the exact opposite of what we're looking for. So let's see. So there, yeah, that's, ooh, okay. That's where it is. That's the issue that I was having. It just wasn't feeling right. And it's because this image feels like it should be more beautiful, like more ethereal, and having so much texture and contrast ends up kind of ruining that. Whereas most of the images that I like to do are more realism, more dark and moody, so that contrast really pops and helps. Whereas this is the exact opposite. So this is better. This is way better. This is a lot better. Have I said that yet? This is way better. So yeah, getting rid of that contrast. Oh, okay. So there we go. Okay. All right. So let's see. Anything else that we want to do? We could kind of play with the distortion. We don't want to do that. Do we want to? No, I'm not going to play with that. Calibration, curves, effects. Let's play with the color a little bit. Maybe increase the vibrancy. Do we want to do that? No, it's too much. Saturation, yeah, way too much. Like look at how crushed that looks now. So yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it like that. And so before and after. So if you didn't want to hit the backspace key, this little guy right down here shows you before and after. This will give you two different versions. So You can do this right here, so you can see the before and the after. If you click on this a few other times, you have different versions of it, so you can see like side by side. It cuts the picture in half, and it'll do up and down. You have all sorts of different options here, but you can see that did quite a bit. I typically like to just leave it on single frame, and we're gonna say okay. So now, ooh, oh boy. Okay, here we go. That's way better. Dude, okay. You know what? I think I'm going to call that. What do you think, Bradley? And anybody else in the chat? The only thing that I have an issue with is that eyeball. It just doesn't feel. You know what I think it is? I think it's those lines. I think those lines are what's really throwing me off. I don't like those lines. So what I'm going to do here, let me, and I'm going to say raw beautification. Is that how you spell it? It doesn't matter. So I'm gonna duplicate that. And you do like the eye? Okay. Well, I'm gonna end up trying something because I'm not loving it. I know if I left it as it is, that's fine. So let's just add maybe a Gaussian blur. Oh, my wife there. Ooh, okay, cool. Yep. Okay, let's throw on like, well, you know what I could do too is I could just do it here. I'm gonna say convert filter, convert for smart filters. Selected layer will be converted. Yep, that's fine. And so we're gonna go back up here and we're gonna go to blur. I think this is gonna hit it. This is gonna be where I was thinking. So what I want to do is intensify. Oh, I have to turn that layer off. Duh. Okay, so smart filter, what that does is it lets you adjust after the fact. So now you can see I have this, and this again is that non-destructive workflow that I was talking about. So what I'm trying to do is just kind of like bring that gradation to be more eyeball like and less digital. So let's do this. Let's Command I. So like this looks almost like a painted effect, and that's not really what I wanted to go for. Oh, there's the wife. Hey, wife. Say hi. Bradley's on.
Hello, Bradleykins, Esquire.
I didn't say anything. This is a live stream, so
Ooh.
I just said congratulations.
They
but
can just see your screen, right?
they can see my screen and my face. There's right there. So it's kind of a small
Hello.
thing.
Hello.
You got it like right in front of here. Come on. There you go.
Hello, everybody.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
That's my wife. Yeah, there's just a slight bit delay, but that's fine. So I think Bradley might be still working a little bit, working away. So he'll say hi once he sees the ear on.
Yeah, say hi to me, Bradley.
Yeah, come on, Bradley. So, yeah, there we go. Kids are fed and everything. So, we're just about. What do you think? So, ignore like the darkness.
So that's a girl.
Yeah, it's a girl.
What's her name?
You get to name her. This is a desktop background for my Patreons.
Sparkle Sunfly.
Sparkle Sunfly it is. Okay. Remember that name. Sparkle Sunfly. Wife.
How about Sparkle Sunflower? Who's a dragon? I shouldn't call it a fly.
Sparkle Sunflower. Okay.
Actually, no. Let's go with Sunfly. Screw it. That was the first one.
Nope.
Commit to it.
She says
Sparkle Sunfly.
Sparkle Sunfly.
It's like My Little Pony, but now it's My Little Dragon.
He says, "Hi, Maggie. My fave." I'm expecting that you mean she's your fave. I don't know. I don't disagree with you there.
I'm just saying, as far as backstory goes,
yeah,
the egg that Sparkle Sunfly came out of was opal. Okay,
I can see it
because they come out of crystals and gemstones.
Okay.
I've decided.
So this is your dragon then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tried that. Out of that.
Yep. Okay. What's
Sparkle
to say?
Sunfly!
Dave is my boo. Maggie is my fave. Yep. That
This,
is accurate. Accurate. Okay.
I
So
liked it. It was darker and grittier at one point.
oh yeah. Yeah. So you missed the whole
Like that. I like the female.
that's where we're going with. So can I change this? No, I
She's
can't.
got a mischievous face.
Right? That's why it's you.
Well, I'll let you do your thing.
Yeah, thanks.
I gotta go get some stuff done, but it's looking
Okay.
tits, bro.
Hey, whoa, watch it.
It's looking titillating. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Okay.
It's titillating for the eye.
Yes. So this is Sparkle Sunfly, right?
Sparkle Sunfly.
Sparkle Sunfly. Okay, this is gonna be. That's what I'm gonna name it instead of Colorful Dragon 3.
Yeah, Sparkle Sunfly.
Sparkle Sunfly. All right, toodaloo.
Are you gonna come out with me, buddy?
Okay.
Yeah, get your toy.
So what I want to do here, I am just. Is this gonna work? I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm just trying to. Yeah, it is. It's just gonna. What I want to do is just affect lighter layers because I want that pupil. I want that pupil. Oh yeah, but it's kind of, you see how that's okay. So you see how that's kind of getting grungy and nasty again. So let's do something like that. I might just manually do it. I think I'll just manually do it. I think I'm fighting that because I'm not using my pencil. So okay, so here we go. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just to kind of bring back some of the crispness of the darkness. So here we go. So everybody, this is Sparkle Sunfly, my wife's new dragon. She better put this on her desktop background. She is one of my patrons after all. So let's see. That's not quite. It's a little too crisp now. So now we want to put a, this is where I'm going to use a low opacity and I want to do this. A low opacity and the low flow. Let's just see. That actually might be a little too much. Let's try it with 100% opacity. There we go. It probably looked fine without it, but okay. That might be a little too much. Let's see what happens if I feather it. Ooh, too much. Okay. Yeah, the pupil feels a little too blurry. I don't like that, but I definitely like that. I definitely like that with the gradation. One of the other things, okay, so let me dial this back. That might be also part of the problem. There we go. Oh, if I change this to screen or lighten, oh yeah, it's no. Okay. So again, like I said, nobody knows exactly how all this stuff would work perfectly. And it's just about playing. And so when you feel like, oh, I couldn't do something as well as, Aaron Nace or, oh my goodness. He ran Abdubzibo. I don't think that's the right way to put it. He was kind of like my hero when it came to Photoshop stuff. Oh my God. I can't remember. All right. How do we think? What do we think, Bradley? When you're worried that you would never be able to do things as cool as this, I mean, this is not bad. This is pretty good. The only thing that we have left to do is change this to the size screen that I want. So, and there might be things that you would like that I don't, or vice versa, and that's okay. That's where the art form comes in. So just play. There we go. So now we're going to do I like that? So I think let's do the golden ratio and see. Oh, no, sorry, not the golden ratio, the golden spiral, and see if that makes a difference. This is just the golden spiral is something in art. I'm not going to get too much into it. That kind of helps dictate where things are going to be. Just like, rule of thirds is usually about where I go, but I like how this actually kind of curves. And so I'm just trying to help that dictate. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Let's take a look here. It's going to crop that guy. Yeah, so I think all I want to do is just bring this up a little bit. Whoops. So let's fill this. Just going to bring it like, there we go. I think that's good. And let's take a look. Yeah, there it is. That's Sparkle Sunfly. All right. We got Sparkle Sunfly. That is Maggie's dragon. Come on. There. No, almost there. Almost there. Oh, goodness. Go away. Okay, there we go. Yes. Okay, I see you. This is the problem with using Photoshop beta, is that a lot of the things, the preferences that I've already decided, hey, don't do this, it does it. And so that it keeps popping up windows that shouldn't be there. But there we go. We got Sparkle Sunfly, my wife's new desktop dragon. And this will be available to my paid patrons at the what are we in? We're in May. So June 1st, I'm going to end up having this along with several other desktop backgrounds and the vertical mobile backgrounds for all my paid folks. So, hey, thank you for joining me. What time do we got here? This is about right. Yeah, 8:38. So that's not too bad. So I'm going to do this same kind of thing tomorrow. I'm going to end up working again on Dragon, but I think one or two mobile backgrounds just to keep this whole series going. And that's going to restart the kick off the Wednesday workshop kind of things, but the Create with Me. I may or may not be joined by a person or two, but we will see how the schedule goes. And yeah, so keep an eye on the channel and my Facebook. I might even post on Instagram. I'll probably actually post this on Instagram. Why not, this photo? But just to kind of keep updated. Thank you very much, Bradley, for joining and participating in the conversation. And for those of you that are here but didn't join in the conversation, I appreciate you being here so much. I will see you again tomorrow. And until next time, be good to each other.